yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. Now today's video is our Scrap Happy Monday project. And so what I did is I got into my yarn stash and I pulled out all different shades of red, green, and variegated Christmas colors. Some of them have sparkle, different types of variegated yarns, and I topped it off with this fun pom-pom yarn trim. And so I'm calling this the Ugly Sweater Christmas Tree Skirt, or you can call it the Scrap Happy Christmas Tree Skirt, because I don't think it's ugly at all. I think it's fun and festive with all these different colors. It's a nice big skirt fit, to work with your 8 or 10 foot trees or even your smaller trees. It's just up to you how many repeat rounds that you want to do. It's totally up to you. I did make it all out of acrylic yarn, so it would all be made out of the same yarn for washing purposes. But if something happens to get spilt on it, say you have a party and you get some eggnog spilled on it, you want to be able to wash that. Okay, so even though we're getting into our scrap yarns, make sure you stick with one fiber for the whole project. That's all I'm saying. All right, now it measures about 80 inches wide and it's about 24 inches deep. And when I say that, that's just from the center point down to the edge. Okay, and if you want to make it even bigger, you just continue with the repeats until it's as big as you want. Now, as far as this trim, this is a pom-pom trim that I had on hand. I believe it was originally made by Hirschner's, but I'm not sure. I bought it from Hirschner's. I do not have the label anymore, and I'll show it to you when we talk about yarns for this. But also you could use any of your leftover like eyelash yarns or do a pom-pom trim on your own. I just happen to have this in Christmas colors and I thought it was super cute for my ugly sweater Christmas tree skirt. Now you can find the complete pattern with pictures and all the information on my blog, and as always I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make our ugly sweater or scrap happy Christmas tree skirt, you're going to need about 16 to 18 ounces of yarn. Okay, and if you want to make it bigger, of course, you're going to need more. And what I have here is just some red, green, and white different variegated yarns that I did use on this project. And I used up some of them, like this sparkle variegated here. The sparkle yarns are ones from Hobby Lobby. And then I have this one here is from Hirschner's. And then I have this one here that I don't know where it's from, And I have lots of different shades of green and red all through this project. I did not do any set pattern. I just used what I had. And some of them came out really interesting, like this one is all one variegated, but you can see it has these white stripes that just popped up, and I think that's fun. And that's the neat thing about a Scrap Happy project, okay? So get in your yarn stash, and even if you don't have any of the variegated, you could use any red and green and white, or whatever colors you're decorating your Christmas decorations are this year. Maybe you're doing all silvers and purple or lots of shades of blue for snowflakes. Any colors that you want, or just a crazy bright, beautiful, different colored tree skirt. It doesn't have to be Christmas colors. I just did mine that way. Okay, so again, this is a medium weight number 4 acrylic yarn in all different shades of Christmas colors, and you need approximately 16 to 18 ounces. Okay, now I want to talk about this trim. This is what the pom-pom yarn looks like, and I ordered this from Hirschner's a couple of years ago. so I don't know the brand exactly. It might be an older Red Heart brand. They also had a red solid, green solid, and a bunch of other colors in solids, as well as variegated. Okay, now, if you don't want to use this or you don't have it, eyelash yarns or fuzzy furry yarns, boucles, different ones that'll give you a nice fun texture will work. But also, you can just crochet a pom-pom trim yourself. And I have the pom-pom pattern out there if you want to do that. It's up to you how you want to finish it off. And the truth is, you could just do a couple of rows of what you're doing in a solid or whatever and not add a trim. That is totally up to you. But I wanted you to see what this looked like because I had it on hand and I love it on this trim. It is just so much fun. All right, so we're going to stitch up with our eye hook. It's a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You need a needle for weaving in ends, and you will have a lot of ends to have to weave in. So keep that in mind and keep your needle close by. And then, of course, you're going to need a pair of scissors. All right, now go get in your yarn stash, gather up all the colors you want to make your tree skirt out of, and let's have some fun. I'm doing the demo with this sort of a light pine green, not quite a sage, but a little bit lighter than a pine green, just so that you can see it well. All right, so we're going to start with our slip knot and we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to join this into a circle. So I'll put that tail of yarn over our hook and pull that through the loop. Snug that down and tie that stay knot. Now, if you prefer to use another method for making your beginning circle, that's totally fine. All right, so we're going to go in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. This chain 3 counts as a double crochet. Now we're going to double crochet and chain 1. All right, and now we're going to do this 4 more times. 2 double crochets, 1, 2, and chain 1. 1 and 2 double crochets and chain 1. 1 and 2, chain 1, and we'll do this one more time. Some more yarn out here. There we go. You'll also notice I am stitching over that tail of yarn. All right, let's go ahead and do our last 2. But we're not going to chain 1 at this point. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of 2 double crochet, chain 1. We're not going to join because we're going to be going back and forth, but we're going to turn this over. We're going to give that tail of yarn just a little bit of a pull so we can close up that hole, and we're going to go ahead and weave this end in. And you can wait till the end to weave it in if you want to, and I like to do mine as I go, but if you like to wait till the end, that's fine too. You do what works best for you. I'm not one of these people who hates to weave things in. Sometimes I'll leave it to the end and then I'll sit down and watch a movie and work on weaving in the ends. It's just part of the process to me. Oop, almost lost my needle. All right, so we have 5 sets of 2 double crochet, chain 1, and now we're going to just chain 3. All right, and that's the way that row 1 should look. All right, we're ready for row 2. So we're going to turn our work. We're going to double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3 because we want to increase there. We're going to double crochet in the next double crochet, and that brings us to our first chain 1 space. In this chain 1 space, we're going to stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet in the next 2 double crochets. 1, 2. Then that brings us to our next chain 1 space, and we'll stitch double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the chain 1 space. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 2. 1 and 2. Brings us to our chain 1 space, and we'll stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then again we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 2 double crochets. So now that brings us to our last chain 1 space. So we'll stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in that chain 1 space. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next double crochet, and then that leaves that last double crochet or chain 3 that counted as our double crochet, and we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in that last stitch. And chain 3. All right, so let's take a look at that. So we have 4 double crochets here and then 4 on each of our sets with those chain 1s in between. Let me open up those chain 1s so you can get a better look at that. Because we stitched 1 in the same stitch as our chain 3, 1 in the next, and then double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in that chain 1 space. And then around here we did 1 double crochet in the next 2 double crochets, and then double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in that chain 1 space, which we repeated. And then we ended with the here's our double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. We stitched 1 double crochet in the next and 2 in the last. So basically we have 5 sets of 4 double crochets and then 1, 2, 3, 4 chain 1 spaces. All right, now we're ready for row 3. So what we're going to do, we've chained 3, we're going to turn our work. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So we're going to stitch in the next double crochet and stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. We're not going to be increasing at the ends of our rows anymore. Okay? And so that double crochet or that chain 3 will count as our first double crochet on all of our rows. Now this brings us to our chain 1 space, and we're going to double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in that chain 1 space. Then that brings us to those 4 double crochets, and so we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in those 4 double crochets. Get some more yarn out there. Now we'll come to that chain 1 space, and we'll stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then we'll repeat this, stitching 1 double crochet in those 4 double crochets. This is a very easy pattern. What makes it so much fun is changing all the colors to all those Christmas colors. All right, so we're at our chain 1 space, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then again, 1 double crochet in those 4 double crochet stitches. Some more yarn here. All right, and then that brings us to our last chain 1 space. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And then we have those last 4 stitches. 1 double crochet in each of those last 4. And chain 3. All right, so let's take a look at what we accomplished. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, chain 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then we chained 3. So we have 3 sets of 6 double crochet and 2 sets of 5 double crochet, and we still have our 1, 2, 3, 4 chain 1 spaces. All right, let's do row 4. We've chained 3. We're going to turn our work. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet again, and so now we're going to double crochet in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets. And that brings us to our chain 1 space, and so we're going to double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And now we have those 6 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll place 1 double crochet in each of those 6. And that brings us to our next chain 1 space. And so what we did here, we're going to repeat 2 more times. There we go. There's 5 and 6. And then that brings us to that next chain 1 space, and again double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet, and then 1 in each of the next 6. All right, now we're at that chain 1 space. It's our last chain 1 space, and again double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. So we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those 5. And again, chain 3. All right, now let's take a look. Where we increase is at our 4 chain 1 spaces, because we add a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet in those 4 chain 1 spaces on each row, and that's how it gets bigger and bigger. We don't increase here because we don't want it to curve in. We want it to have that V so we can wrap it around our Christmas tree. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, our chain 1 space, and then we have 1, let me show you this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 3 times, and then again we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 sets of 6, 3 sets of 8, and then again our 4 chain 1 spaces, and then again we chained 3. All right, let's do row 5. We've chained 3. We're going to turn our work. We're going to double crochet in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches because our chain 3 counts as our first. And again, we're at our chain 1 space, so double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 double crochets. So we're going to stitch in those 8 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then that brings us to our chain 1 space, and we stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. All right, so now we're going to stitch 1 in each of the 8, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the chain 1 space, and then 1 in each of the 8 over here. And I think now you're starting to see how the pattern works. It is basically a 1 row repeat once you get going, and then we increase every row at those chain 1 spaces. And that's what makes this tree skirt so much fun to make, because it's easy, but it's also super fun because you can change colors anytime that you want to, or you could do this all just in one beautiful color. All right, on my second, I guess this would be our third set of 8 double crochets. And then that brings us to our chain 1 space. Double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the end. So we'll just stitch 1 double crochet in those last 6 double crochets. Alrighty, and chain 3. All right, so now because we've added 1 on each side of our chain 1 spaces, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let me do that so you can see that better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 3 sets of 10 double crochet, 2 sets of 7 with 4 chain 1 spaces for row 5. So we've completed 5 rows. Now we're ready for row 6. We've chained 3. We're going to turn our work and we're going to stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double crochets because our chain 3 counts as our first. And then we're going to double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the chain 1 space. And then we're going to double crochet in each of those double crochets. So again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we'll stitch 1 double crochet in each of those 10. Got a little bit of a scratchy throat today. Alrighty, so I've stitched a double crochet in each of those 10. That brings us to our chain 1 space. And again, we stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Alright, and then we're going to repeat this 2 times. I repeated this 2 more times, and then it brings me to my last chain 1 space, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in those last 7 stitches. Oops, there we go. All right, let's do our chain 3, of course. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on our 2 ends, and then 12 on our 3 sides with our 4 chain 1 spaces. So what you're seeing is the 2 ends are going to increase by 1 every row, and then the center portions will increase by 2 because we're only adding 1 here on this side, but you're getting 1 from each of the sides here. So 7 and 12. 7 on the 2 ends and 12 on the 3 sides, and we'll always have our 4 chain 1 spaces. And then, of course, chain 3. I think now you can kind of see how the shape of our tree skirt will be, because this way you can take it and sort of form that cone like this that'll fit around the base of that Christmas tree and then fan out. All right? Okay, let's do row 7. Turn our work. 1 double crochet in these stitches, so that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, so that gives us 8 because our chain 3 counted as our first and we stitched 7 more. So we have 8. Now we're at our chain 1 space, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those 12. There's 4. Eight, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then we're at our chain 1 space, so again, double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. All right. So now we'll repeat this on these next 2 sides. 12 double crochets, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the chain 1 space, and repeat. So I repeated that 2 more times, and now we did our double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in our chain 1 space, and now we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those double crochets. There we go, our last one, and chain 3. All right, so for row 7, we have 2 sets of 9 double crochets, and then we have 3 sets of 14, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 chain 1 spaces. And it's really coming along, isn't it? We've chained 3, we'll turn our work. And remember, we are not increasing on the ends here. So we're not stitching in the same stitch as our chain 3. We're going in the next stitch and stitching 1 double crochet till we reach that chain 1 space. And then we'll double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. All right, and so that will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 double crochets on the end. All right, so now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those next set of double crochets till we reach that chain 1 space. Alrighty. So we're at the chain 1 space, so we're going to stitch a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Alright, so from this double crochet to this double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 double crochets. And so what we're going to do is repeat what we did here on these two sides, and then we'll finish up over here like we did over here. So I've repeated 2 more times what we did over here, and here is my chain 1 space with double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And so now we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in those last stitches. You see, if you can do a double crochet, a chain 1, then you can do this project. It's a super easy and fun project, and it's also a great way to use up a bunch of leftover yarns and make a beautiful tree skirt. Alrighty, so chain 3. Alright, so what we have here for row 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 double crochets 2 times, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 double crochets 3 times, and then our 4 chain 1 spaces. This is how it should look at row 8. Now before we go on and finish our Christmas tree, scrap happy tree skirt, I want to talk to you a little bit about changing colors, because I always get this question. Now you can use the Russian join, and I do have videos on that, or you can just tie a knot. I'm not going to tell anyone. But the way that I like to do it in this particular project is to just pull it in. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's turn and do a couple of stitches on the next row. Alright, but let's say I'm running out of yarn, and I'll go ahead and just cut this piece off, and I want to bring in my next color. So what I do is I go ahead and I'll pull one back out. There we go. So I have enough yarn. Alright, so what I do is I go ahead and start the double crochet, and then I go ahead and bring in the next color. And I do this because I want that next stitch to be a nice solid color. I don't always do this, but it's my favorite way of doing it. That way, when I change colors, I've got a solid stitch in that color. Then what I do is I grab those tails of yarn and I'll stitch over it for a couple of stitches, 2 or 3, depending on how long I want to do that. Alright, and then I'll just drop those and go on with what I'm doing. Alright, and then I'll come back in with my needle and weave that in with my needle. That way it's in there nice and secure, and you also get a nice neat color change. Alright, so now what you're going to do is you're going to repeat row 8, which was the last row that we finished, and you're going to repeat that for 30 more rows, or more if you want an even bigger tree skirt. And you'll continue to repeat that, and you're going to increase every row. Everywhere we put our double crochet, chain 1 double crochet in those chain 1 spaces, you're increasing. Alright? And that's what makes it neat about this project, is there aren't any fancy stitches to remember, you know, no crossing over, no cables, any of that, although I do love those things. But for this particular project, because I wanted all of the fun yarns to be the star of the project, we're just doing double crochet stitches. And so you're going to repeat row 8 for 30 more rows, increasing every row. All right, so here is my actual Christmas tree skirt. And as I increased, of course, it got a whole lot wider and longer. And I did mine for 30 more rows, which gave us rows up through row 38. All right, and you can see how pretty that looks. Isn't that beautiful? Now, if you want it to be even bigger, my tree is a 7-foot tree, and it's perfect for my tree. But if you have an even bigger tree and you want to cover an even bigger space, you can make this as big as you want. If you have a smaller tree and you don't want one quite so big, then do less rows. All right? But just get in your yarns and just have so much fun with all those Christmas colors to make a beautiful Christmas tree skirt. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about the trim. So once you've done as many rows as you want to for the size that you're making, you're not going to want to end in a chain 3. You just want to end. And if you're going to do another couple rows for a trim, that's totally fine. I used this yarn here. It's called Pom-Pom yarn. As I said, I bought it through Hirschner's, and I'm not sure of the brand because I don't have the label anymore. Okay? I don't know if they still carry that, but you might have some of this in your yarn stash. If you don't, Fun Furs work. Any of the fuzzy boucles, Sherpa type yarns that are fuzzy and fun, any of those will work for a fun trim. If you don't have those, you can just do whatever sort of trim you want to do on the edge of your Christmas tree skirt. All right, so, but I wanted to show you how this works on here, because if you have some and you've never used it and you don't know how to use it, let me show you. On the last row, of course, we're not going to chain 3. We're just going to chain 1 and turn. I'm going to go right in that first stitch, and I like to have one of the pom-poms on the end to kind of stop it from going through. All right, and then we're just going to grab that and make a slip stitch. All right, we'll push that pom-pom over and chain 1. Then we'll skip the next, go in the next, and grab that next section, slip stitch, and chain 1. And see how that pulls those all up? Okay, skip the next. Oh, I forgot to chain 1. Then we'll skip the next stitch, pull up the next, slip stitch, chain 1. And so when I'm skipping, I'm going to that next section, pulling that up, and then my chain 1 is the next section. And it just bobbles them up there, chains them up, groups them up, makes them super cute. And it goes pretty fast. Skip the next, go to the next. And that's the way that I do with this particular yarn. All right. And it just jumbles them up or bobbles them up, whatever you want to call it, and it looks super cute. And you can do this same technique with some of your other types of yarn and come up with a really neat idea. Now, I do have a popcorn stitch or bobble stitch from a couple of years ago where I did a different type of Christmas tree skirt that would work. That's in the Friday Fun Days. You can find, I think I called it the popcorn stitch, and it works really nice too. But you can use whatever trim you want to on yours. I just wanted I found this in my stash and I wanted to use it because I thought it was perfect for the theme of the ugly sweater tree skirt. All right, so it's up to you how you want to do your trim. And see how that trim looks on the skirt? I think it just adds so much to it. And it just makes it so much fun. All right, and so that is how easy it is to make our ugly sweater or scrap happy Christmas tree skirt. I hope you'll make one of these, get in your yarn stash, and just see what fun yarns you can put together for your tree skirt.